Oh, the laws outside are frightful, but the weed is so delightful. And since we no place to go, let us talk, let us talk, let us talk. And it finally shows signs of stopping as the strictest states start the flopping. The dankest buds start to grow. Let us talk, let us talk. When we finally chief tonight, we'll be past the prohibition storm. And if you legalize my right, all the way home I'll be stoned. Oh, with the fire we're slowly flying, and my dear, we'll still get higher, as long as you love to get stoned. Let us talk, let us talk, let us talk. And when we finally spark a light, how I'd hate to blow it out in the storm. And if you really roll it tight, all the way home I'll be stoned. Oh, with the fire we're slowly flying, and my dear, we'll still get higher, as long as you love to get stoned. Let us talk, let us talk, let us talk.
Nobody enters the fucking bathroom. Nobody fucking...
Yo, Fred.
Oops. There we go. Technical difficulties. The mic wasn't even bloody plugged in. Well done, Marty. Guys, I was rushing around trying to get the 420 news tweet today because I had a meeting there that took place at 3 o'clock and just went on a bit longer than scheduled. But here I am, just a couple of minutes over. But I got a bit of news to report for you today, guys. And before I get into it, just to remind you guys, if you want to support the show, if you want to support the fight for cannabis legalisation in Ireland, you can sign up for the patreon.com/Martin's World. And you can also make donations there to the martinsworld.ie. There's a link up there for you if you want to make a donation in the form of bitcoins. Yeah, all of the money that will be used there will be used to set up and run a cannabis activist hub here in Cork City, and I've already kind of begun the process of looking at them along with the assistance there from a good friend Graham who was on the podcast before. So we'll get on with the show today. So guys, have a bit of news for you, and the first bit of news up today is it's coming here from the adult caution list. So a lot of people have been sharing this news over the last couple of days. It actually only came out early yesterday, and there was an announcement then that was made earlier today. It was expected that it was going to be made yesterday evening, but the announcement actually only just came out earlier today. And what this is all about, basically, it's if you've been caught with cannabis, and it's your first time being caught with cannabis, a guard now can use his discretion at the side of the road or wherever it is that he's caught you with this cannabis to, rather than go about trying to bring it to court. He can instead go and just give you a caution at the side of the road, which would then kind of divert you away from the court and the criminal justice system. But what happens there at the side of the road is he has to actually take your name and you have to be logged into, it's a formal process, the adult caution system. So you only get one chance at this. In exceptional circumstances, they might allow a second adult caution, but that's in exceptional circumstances. So maybe you're the son of a Taoiseach or something. I'd imagine that's the only exceptional circumstances they'll accept. Even there, they might give you a third and a fourth. But like I don't know, is this a good thing? It's certainly a good thing, I suppose, for those people who get caught first of all. Like I was caught when I was 17, and I didn't have this benefit to get the adult caution because it wasn't included in it back then. But I didn't benefit from that. But what I did benefit from was when I went to court, the judge threw it out. He did straight up threw it out. No fine, no donation to charity box, no nothing like that. He was just like, it's your first time, you're here, it's a little bit of hash. He was like, why didn't the guards just leave you go at the side of the road? Like, this was Judge McNulty, I believe was his name. He was an older gentleman. He retired the following year. Many years ago. I'm 31 now, and that was back when I was 18. I was caught when I was 17. I didn't get to court until I was 18. I was caught as a minor and tried as an adult afterwards. But I kind of benefited there that the judge was able to just throw it out, and I thought that was going to be kind of the norm then when going to court, that the judge would just be like, yeah, look, this is a waste of my time, it's so small. Because I've never been caught with more than that. But no, sadly after that then it was kind of the charity box was my kind of get out of jail free card. So all this is going to do for people is going to give you this one time get out of jail free card, but it's not going to stop Gardaí from harassing young fellas around the place. You know, if you're walking down the road and you're wearing a hoodie and there's a couple of you and maybe one of you is a weed leaf on your hoodie, those guards are still going to stop and search it, you know. So it doesn't do away with that, and that's the big thing we need to do away with. The fact that the Gardaí are still going to waste their time stopping and searching people for personal drug possession is an absolute joke. You know, it's a real joke, and it's a big reason why they're unwilling to probably do away with this law, is because of the power it bestows upon the Gardaí to stop and search a person. You know, I talked about it before. This is a big issue with human rights and an infringement on our constitutional right to privacy. A Gardaí can just turn around and say he smells cannabis off you and search you because of that. That's infringement on your rights, to the right to privacy as you're walking down the road. Like, it's one thing now, there's a house after being robbed and you fit the description of that person and he wants to stop and search you because of that. But it's just like, oh no, you look like you have cannabis. I can smell it off you. You know, he can just say that. I can smell it off you. I want to search you. And he how can you argue with that? And this is why they don't want to get rid of these powers, because of the power it gives them to stop and search you at the side of the road. As I say, I would much rather if the guards were if they stopped and searched me and said, hey, look, there was a house robbed there recently and your car fits the description. Oh yeah, no bother, guards. You can search my car. No problem at all. But no, it's always, we smell cannabis coming out of your car. You're acting suspiciously. We want to search you. What the hell? Like, we want to search you under the Misuse of Drugs Act when they say you're acting suspiciously. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's an infringement in your privacy and your freedom to travel around the place. So this kind of addition of the Section 3 to the adult caution scheme, it's a teeny tiptoe in the right direction. It's in what's to be done, but it's nowhere near enough, you know. And we look here on the Garda website. So, introduction of new offences to the adult caution scheme. So they're referring here to the Section 3. So go over and check out this announcement if you're so interested at all. It's down here in part 4 of it, where they introduce offences under the Section 3 of the Misuse of Drugs Act 1977 and 84. Simple possession. This will relate to the possession of cannabis and cannabis resin only. No other controlled drugs are permitted under the adult caution scheme. So this is kind of unfair as well, because they should have just went one further, like just decriminalised the possession of, well, just add all drugs here to this caution scheme. Why is it only the cannabis, guys? Like, and it's great that we do get the benefit from it, but like, what about the guy caught with heroin? And to be honest, like, if you haven't checked out the Two Narries podcast, check it out. It's a great podcast. But James talks about it. He could have been caught in any day with 3 times with heroin when he was possessing heroin back in those days. Like, so this doesn't benefit anybody. You know, like, when you get caught with the cannabis at the side of the road, you must display like the admit guilt. You're sorry, you'll never do it again, and maybe the guard will give you the benefit of this caution. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. You can click in then there to this document, which is the policy document around it, which was just released earlier today. And it says here it's effective as of the 14th of December. So if you were caught with cannabis on the 13th of December, this isn't apply for you at all. Even if you were caught with cannabis on the 14th of December, let me know if you were caught with cannabis at all there over the last 2 days. Did the guards show any discretion at the side of the road or give you benefit of a caution? Because this was effective as of the 14th, but anybody caught on the 13th, this can't be applied to you. It's not retrospective. So that's the kind of the deal with these adult cautions. There's a lot of waffle here as you kind of go down through this policy. There was an interesting point here that the policy talked about, and I wanted, the human rights consideration. Guys, this is something I've been talking about, how these drug policies, they're infringing on our human rights and we can't let them get away with it. Like, why do the government get to tell me that I can't consume cannabis when it doesn't impact negatively on my life? And instead, they're going to have all these negative policies then to make sure that it has a negative impact on my life. You know, while the cannabis doesn't, these policies around it do. As I always say, it's the policies cause the issue. So there's interesting things here within this. You know, accordingly, the operation of adult caution scheme engages with Article 38.1, the right to fair trial, and 40.3 in relation to fair procedures and privacy rights. Again, guys, I talk about our privacy rights there. These just don't go far enough to protect them at all. You know, they're more interested in protecting their right to stop and search you at the side of the road and to try to find you with this bloody devil's lettuce. It's just really annoying that people, like, they've been working on this since 2018. There's been people employed by the state getting paid good bloody money, and this is the best they can come up with. It's ridiculous. Like, it just does not go far enough at all. People are still going to be brought to court, and they're still going to be tried before judges for possessing cannabis. Do you know, it doesn't make kind of any indication here at all as to how much cannabis actually is a personal amount at all. It just kind of, I think, again, it's at the discretion of the guard at the side of the road, whether you can make a good argument as to how much is kind of your personal amount. Like, you go through the whole document, there's nothing there at all as to it. It just talks about a small amount of cannabis. So again, it's all at the discretion of the guard. So it's all about your yes or no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, at the side of the road. I just don't think this is something for us to celebrate at all. It just is. There's a lot of talking points on this. Like, why haven't they gone one further and included all drugs in this section 3? Why have they picked out cannabis and cannabis resin alone? Does this mean if you have one of these high concentrated cannabis oils that you're still now in breach of this law? Because it talks about cannabis and cannabis resin. I wonder, does the oils and the extracts. I suppose actually when you look at I went through it there last week, the Misuse of Drugs Act, and they talk about the definitions there within that legislation. And yeah, I think actually cannabis and cannabis resin does include the extracts there from the flowers. So yeah, it would include the oil. But what's a personal amount again? Like, they're not making any indication here. There's just not enough information here for the public or for the guards either. It's you know, it's all at the discretion of the guard at the side of the road. And I just can't see this changing anything at all, really, guys. You know, if you're out there, if you got caught with cannabis yesterday, if you got caught with cannabis today, or if you're going to get caught with it tomorrow, guys, get in touch with me. Let me know what happens at the side of the road. It'd be good to get your input there, and just to get the information out there to people as to what is this change in all. Our Gardaí now kind of showing a bit more discretion at the side of the road. Like, they get to take your cannabis. Like, that's fucking annoying still. They take your cannabis, they'll take your grinder, they'll take your property. Like, it's ridiculous. It doesn't go one far enough at all. You know, it's just not worth celebrating at all. it's definitely one worth getting up in arms about. So in other news, guys, and positive news again here, going forward into 2021, I believe 2021 is going to be a big year for cannabis. And I really do hope that the cannabis community in Ireland can really get together and really drive this over the line, which will be Gino Kenny's cannabis legalization bill that he's going to put forward before the Dáil in 2021. So he's going to bring forward this piece of legislation that the Irish government will get to debate and vote on early next year. I've reached out to Gino. I hope he might join me someday on the podcast to discuss this. I'll be happy as well to give him some input and guidance there on this bill. If Gino happens to be watching this or somebody talking to him, I've kind of already made it known, but I hope I see included in there some piece of the bill that refers to clearing the criminal convictions of people who've been caught with cannabis in the past, because I have a criminal conviction for cannabis. I have 4 of them now, actually. I've appealed one recently, so I still only have 3, actually. But I want those gone. I don't believe that I deserve them. My conviction for cannabis, although it was a crime at the time, it was wrong, it was unjust, and it needs to be cleared, and I hope the bill reflects that. So it's good news. It's good news, guys. January 2021, I'm going to start days of action here in Cork City. If there's anybody out there in towns, cities across the rest of Ireland, we need to team up and get these days of action kind of coordinated and making a national movement. I'm just one guy down here in Cork, but if there's one more person in another county and another county, that's 3 counties across an island of Ireland. That's 3 out of 28. That's good enough, and it's a start. So get in touch, guys. Let's do this. Set up tables and get out there and get information to people. Let's start talking about cannabis and the need to end this prohibition. It's just a fucking plant. Like, there's nothing to be scared about. Check out my recent interview there with Alison Littlefair, who wrote the book Walter and the Magic Seed. Again, she's trying to destigmatize the plant by normalizing it at the core, at the key level, which is the kids. The younger generations growing up, they need to just know that this is just a plant. They can't be brainwashed by the reefer madness and the prohibitionists out there who want them to believe that it's the devil's lettuce that's going to creep inside in their bed and kill them some night. This sort of thing, it's got to end. So definitely check out that interview. It's up there now on YouTube, and I'll give it a share on the page there later on. I just, as I say, it's been a very busy 2 days for myself, and I think next year it's only going to get busier. Lots of momentum going into it. So that's Gino Kenny's bill, and kind of tied in with that then in certain respects, this heads on over across the pond to America, where they're kind of a bit more advanced than us now, in that they've progressed a bit further. So Chicago's independent pot shops are going up in smoke as New York cannabis giants move in to acquire Midway Dispensary. And Midway Dispensary is an independently owned and run cannabis kind of dispensary there in Chicago. Excuse me, guys. So what's been happening there is that a major New York-based cannabis firm have announced plans there on Tuesday to acquire one of Chicago's only independent dispensaries and an outstanding pot shop license owed to the current operators. So what's happening here is that the big money, big kind of companies are trying to move in on small independent stores, and I think this is a big thing we need to be aware of, because if we were to have another drugs market, let's say like alcohol, like tobacco, emerge with cannabis, I believe we have to really make sure that it stays in control of the local community and industry. It's run locally at some level anyway, because if we've, like, what's happening here, you have a company outside of the state, you have a company in New York now acquiring property in Chicago. Like, they don't have a whole lot of interest there in that local environment, only the business that they run. Rather than if it was a person who lived there, who actually owned it, there would be much more connection then to the business being involved with the community. Now, I just don't want to see another like drug regulated in our community like alcohol and tobacco, where there is potential harms if it's kind of driven like that, profit driven, where consumerism is the main focus of the industry. That's not in the heart of what cannabis actually is. Cannabis will sell itself. It doesn't need big flashy billboards, markets, or anything like that. And I hope we can get that excluded from the cannabis industry as well. It's something we need to address in our drug policy at whole here in Ireland, is the advertising of these drugs or substances to consumers. And I'm talking about tobacco, I'm talking about alcohol, I'm talking about cannabis when it is regulated. I don't believe we should have these things advertised as they currently are in our society, with big billboards displaying beer and vodka and stuff like that. We've sorted it out a bit with tobacco now, with the packaging and the stuff like that. You don't see any cigarette ads on the TV, for example. I don't really want to see that with cannabis either. I would like to see it ended as well with alcohol. Because people are aware of these substances, they don't need them to be advertised to them, and I think what that does is it gives an advantage there to big businesses, big money over local run businesses. Again, community kind of driven stuff. There's a lovely brewery down in Kinsale who I love to get a cider from time to time from. And they're local run business down there, and I believe that they've got the community in somewhere in the heart of their business. And I like to support businesses like that rather than going and getting something from, again, Bulmers, which is another Irish-run business. Nothing against it, but it's just very large and very corporate kind of thing. I just like small, and I would like to see it that way. So that's just me. That's just my opinion and my interests, I suppose. And I would like to see cannabis kind of replicated in that, and small businesses protected, and big industries kind of, I don't know, just slightly frowned upon because of the way in which they operate at times. Not all of them are bad, but some of them, But the owners of the Midway dispensary, then, he's 33, his name is Brian Zias, and he says that he has no plans to sell out, though big industry players have come knocking. So there is kind of the industry, the independents there are trying to hold out, but as I say, with advertising and all this stuff in the favour of big industries, big money, you wonder how long they can actually hold out in there. So that's just something to be aware of for us when we are forming this, that we do look after our own people here, because that there's a lot of outside investors looking in on Ireland who would like to set up their companies and have policy maybe reflected, made in a way that it benefits them. Policies that restrict one's ability to grow at home, let's say. Because if I could grow cannabis at home in a non-restricted manner, and I can grow enough of it and store enough of it to keep myself going for a year, that would be great. But if we have a policy that says, actually, no, you can only grow 1 plant or 4 plants or 6 plants, and you can only have up to a kilo of cannabis in your house at any one time, like these are restrictive and discriminatory. We can't have them, and these favour the industry because it restricts your ability then to be self-sufficient, and makes you more reliant on their business and their products. And it's something we just have to be mindful of, really, when these policies are being written and formed. Other news, guys, we have we're hopping on over there to Canada then. We're hopping from America to Canada, and we have Aphria and Tilray. They're making the news today, and I hope I got that company's name right. Aphria? I'm not too sure. Doesn't really matter anyhow. Big industries over there, big names. And why they're making today's news is that these two companies have recently agreed to combine their companies, making them now the biggest cannabis company in this industry, worth a whopping 4.8 billion Canadian dollars. I don't know what that is in euro, probably a couple of million euro. Sorry, that was just a joke. It's a couple of billion euro as well. But like that's a lot of money there with their combined wealth, bringing together two very key players there, together, because Tilray are an international company. They've got they've got premises all around the place. Portugal being one, so they've got a foothold into Europe. So this is very interesting stuff. Big money here coming out down the line. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. The Tilray's CEO, Brendan Kennedy, he'll become a board member there of the combined companies. And Kennedy and Simon first met in 2018, and Simon is the CEO there of Aphria. But the financial courtship only began this year. So it's only a new kind of agreement there that they're after coming together. The new company will sell cannabis products across Canada and will be positioned to pursue growth opportunities such as medicinal marijuana in Germany. The company's Tilray's Portugal production facility will allow tariff-free access to the European Union. There you go. Like, these are the kind of the reasons why these guys are making these deals. But it's interesting that this kind of stuff is happening. You know, there's big mergers happening, and I wonder, is it because they're in trouble? Recently, there I don't know that I report on it in the 420 news. I had it listed. I might have got too busy to get it covered. But Aurora, which is another Canadian company, they've recently announced that they're going to be laying off 200 people in their company. They overestimated the demand that was going to be there for their product. Some of their warehouses, some of their grow production facilities are only in 25% of them are in use. 25% of the floor space is in use. They dramatically overestimated how much is going to be kind of demanded there by the industry. But because it was just terribly regulated in Canada, there was a big mess there. They thought that this recreational market, once it was made available, it was going to be a huge thing. But just red tape and bureaucracy, all of that crap got in the way, and the black market kind of still has a good foothold there in America. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there with the Tilray and Aphria merger. You know, as I said, that they do have their eyes on Europe. Tilray have had interest in Ireland. I know there was meetings there between Brian Kennedy, I believe, and some of the officials here in Ireland. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully there'll be some positive news into the New Year's. It'd be great if there was an allowance there for indigenous bloody Irish companies to set up, you know. Like, I've an interest. I would love to set up a cannabis production facility and to provide medicinal cannabis for patients. But no, look, it's it's a big boys club. It's only for the lads with the suit and all the big money. Even though I have the knowledge and the understanding, I could design a GMP approved facility. I've gone through college and I studied the whole the ins and outs of it. But sadly, no, it's a big boys club, you know. It's for the lads up there, the Auroras, the Tillerays, and the likes of them to make their deals. I'll continue being a grassroots activist and fighting for the people. I want to get the cannabis to the patients, and I don't want to make a pile of money like these guys do. These guys are only interested at the end of the day in their shareholders and the profit margins and all of this kind of stuff that, to me, it doesn't matter. There's a patient, there's a person suffering, there's a plant that can provide benefit. Right, how do we get the best quality medicine to that person, pay a wage of a couple of people, and you know, do it at the lowest cost to the patient, you know. That's what I'm most interested in. I'm not interested in the profits to the thing, and that's just me. Maybe this is why I'm not cut out for this kind of thing. If I was to set up a business, it would be a not-for-profit business, to be honest. That would be how I would see cannabis, and it's how I would like it to be done. I don't want to be making millions every year off the back of patients. Like, geez, that's horrible. That's a horrible business model. But that's just me. There's other people out there and they're into it, you know. Feria, Tilray, and the likes of them, they're into it. Happy days. And it has to be done, I suppose. Patients need their medicine, and it's the way it goes, this capitalist society of ours. And other news, guys. So we had on an airplane, get back right across the pond to the UK. And in the UK, we report here on some some funny guys. Unfortunately, these guys were arrested after mistakenly showing the cops what was a video of their cannabis grow farm, their cannabis grow operation, instead of opening up Google Translate. So the pair were stopped by the cops, and there was a smell of cannabis coming from them, and the guards wanted to search the car, or the cops, because this was in the UK, in Sutherland, and the cops wanted to search the car, and they found nothing at all in the car, but there was a strong smell coming from the lads, and the lads got out the phone, and he was like, "Oh, I'll get out Google Translate because I can't speak English, you know." And the cop seen it. He was like, "Hey, that was a bloody big cannabis farm there in that video that was just on the screen." And you know, they led to more searches, and the pair, they were 38 and 22. They were arrested on suspicion and the production of a Class B drug, which was cannabis. So the police later discovered a significant cannabis farm at a property in Easington Lane, where more than 600 cannabis plants were found covering the 3 floors of the building. The farm was shut down and the drugs were seized. The plants were seized. Sergeant Steve Passy of Northumbria Police said that this was a rather unusual incident, which saw a suspect open up his phone and try to use Google Translate, but inadvertently showed us a video of a cannabis farm in the area. It's safe to say the suspect was a little shocked and tried to quickly lock his phone in hope that nobody had seen it. Unfortunately for him, that resulted in him and his associate spending the night in a police cell, and we were able to carry out a further inquiries which led to an address on the High Street in Easington Lane. Mr. Passy added that cannabis farms can be used to fund more serious crimes across the region and can often be a death trap in themselves. Like, he's alluding here as to how prohibition causes, cannabis farms can be used to fund more serious crimes. So he's even admitting here that a cannabis farm is a lesser crime. He's admitting it. The cop is admitting it. This cop should be saying, to the policy makers out there, come on, legalise cannabis and stop enabling these criminal gangs to fund their more serious crimes through the growing of plants that bring benefits to people, that make people happy. Come on. And then they go on to say, another alluding here to how prohibition, it often, the electricity has been bypassed, which poses a serious and real fire risk to not only the property involved, but the families living within the vicinity. Again, guys, prohibition putting families within the vicinity of the grow operation at risk, because these guys can't get in electricians because their grow operation is illegal. If their grow operation was legal, they wouldn't be doing it in business or in residential areas. They would be going to industrial areas, getting a proper property and getting electricians in, and it would be all above board. But no, this is all a result of prohibition, and they talk about it, that the cops know it, but they're not following up, they're not finishing their sentences at all, and I'm finishing it now for them. What they're saying here is the cannabis farms are not a serious crime, and they're used to fund more serious crimes. And that the policymakers out there, they're enabling the criminals to do this. And they need to fucking fix their policies and take this it's a golden egg to the criminals out there, the prohibition of drugs. It's ridiculous. So onwards we go, guys. We hop on over on a plane and we take a long journey over to New Zealand. Where they recently got the vote on cannabis legalization, and sadly it didn't pass. But the conversation there around cannabis is still continuing. And a recent article there that cropped up in my sites was one that was discussing something that I covered before. I done an episode covering the RSA and drug driving. You find it up on YouTube, so go check it out if you haven't seen it already. But there's it says here that there's little hard evidence that cannabis was implicated in 6 of the 9 fatal road crashes, and this was over in New Zealand. An outspoken road safety campaigner, Clive Matthew Wilson, has queried suggestions by coroner David Robinson that cannabis was implicated in 6 of the 9 fatal road crashes there. And he goes on to say that, in fact, there is little concrete evidence that cannabis was a significant factor in any of these fatalities. Matthew Wilson, who has campaigned for safer cars and roads for over 25 years, says the example Coroner Robinson gave was that Thomas Jacob Goodman, 29, who crashed while driving home from a work gathering on the night of November 29th last year. Goodman was found to be almost 5 times the legal drink drive limit, and he also tested positive for cannabis and its constituent element tetrahydrocannabinol. So basically, your man was drunk out of his brain, as actually they go on to say. It says Goodman was drunk out of his brain. He would have probably crashed anyway, even if THC wasn't in his system. Also, you have to be very careful implying Goodman was stoned on the cannabis as well. In fact, cannabis testing is notoriously vague, as the testing on Goodman's body shows is that he had consumed cannabis at some stage recently, but it may not have actually affected his driving on the fatal night at all. That is because the metabolism of cannabis, it gets lodged in your fat cells. I could smoke a joint now and I'll test positive tomorrow, even though I'm not under the influence of it, So this is what this guy is pointing out here, and it's kind of very disingenuous of the coroner to say like, oh yeah, cannabis played a role here in the death of this man, rather than just acknowledging that there was a presence here, but that the presence isn't at all correlation with the fact that the man crashed and died. It was the fact that he was 5 times over the legal drink driving limit. Come on, that the man was pissed drunk. That's going to cause you the crash. There's some very good videos out there. I was considering playing them to you, but they're a bit long. But go check them out. I might share some of them later on when they tested the effects of different drugs on people's driving abilities. And cannabis, like it makes people safer drivers. It slows them down. It makes them drive further from behind people. You know, they drive slower. They take longer to park and things like that because they're more cautious. Like it's so funny that the results that happen, you know, when you compare the different drugs, the alcohol, the cocaine, and the cannabis. Like cannabis, it's the most safest one of them all. And there's an argument there that it makes people a bit of a safer driver. Not everybody, but some people, you know, those people who can handle it. One of the examples I'm thinking of is where they tested a medical cannabis patient, and like your one came and she was, I don't know, was it 10 or 20 times over the limit just based on her, what she had to consume for medicinal reasons. She was a person who suffered with chronic pain. And then while there, like, they were like, oh, how far can we push this? And they just had her blaze up a load of bongs, like, while she was there after doing the test the first time. And they got her blazed. And she still drove it fine. The only thing that she done is she kind of gamified it in her own mind. She wanted to do better than what she did the first time. And that was it. And she tried to do it faster, is what she said afterwards. She tried to do it faster. And but she still didn't kind of display anything like a person drunk, you know? So like this is just more of it out there, the prohibitionist, the fear-mongering, and trying to link cannabis there to like road deaths. And this is coming from New Zealand. So that was an article there. If you search that headline, if you want to read the rest of it yourself and get into it, I thought it was worth sharing. I'm not going to finish off the rest of the article because it kind of goes on to talk about different things there with drink driving and stuff like that, and loads of statistics there. But just the thing to comment on is that cannabis, when you consume it, it sticks around your body in a long time, and a lot of the times it, especially when it's the most commonly consumed drug, it can appear in road deaths. Because of just the nature of it, but it doesn't mean that it's like a causation and correlation there, you know. Just because you can correlate THC with a road death doesn't mean it's a causation of that road death. So we'll drive on and we'll head back on then to Ireland, and we're going to finish off then with just a couple of news pieces there around Ireland relating to seizures. And I hate this part of the show because, you know, I covered the positive news at the earlier part, but this is just where it's the cops wasting time and our resources and not really keeping our streets safe at all. So the first piece of news is that €12,000 worth of cannabis and cocaine was seized in Kilkenny. And today, 2 people have been arrested after drugs to the value of about €12,000 were seized locally. It follows a number of searches conducted by the drugs unit in Kilkenny City and Danesfort areas last Monday, 14th of December. Cannabis worth €10,000 was discovered, with cocaine valued at €2,000, and 2 people have been arrested and were questioned and later charged to the Kilkenny District Court. So a number of searches, like a number of Gardaí as well here carrying out these searches, and all they found was €10,000 worth of cannabis. So they found 500 grams of cannabis and €2,000 worth of cocaine. Not like this is a waste of their time. Like, come on, like how much was the Garda at the time? Where like what was the overtime being put in there, and the just the overall cost to the Gardaí to carry out this operation? What a waste of time, like, and such a paltry amount then as well. And 2 people being brought before the courts. It doesn't say what their ages were. It really annoys me when I see people in their 20s being brought to the courts, and just because they've the whole future ahead of them, and it's you're reminded in the court so much, you know, oh, you can't travel, you can't get jobs, all this is because of our conviction, just because your personal possession of drugs, you know. Man, I can only imagine what it must have been like to be a gay person before the courts and to be criminalised for that before, and having these dim-witted views being spewed down upon you from a judgmental judge who thinks he's doing the right thing and criminalising you because it's good for our society, you know. you shouldn't be gay, just stop liking the same sex there and we won't criminalise you. This is kind of what they're saying about cannabis. I didn't choose to like cannabis. I just tried it and I enjoyed it and I want to continue enjoying it and I don't want to be criminalised for that. Like, come on, stop. It's abuse of my human rights to exist and to have a free life and just to be able to get a job and to travel and just to live. Stop trying to lock me up and take away my freedom because of how I choose to express myself and to live my life. I infringe upon nobody else. Like, I do no harm to anybody else in what I do. So why lock me up because of it? Why expend like €100,000 of taxpayers' money per year to lock me up? Like that's what it would cost, and that's what the judge could do. He could lock me up for 12 months if he wants for simply possessing cannabis here in Ireland. They don't do it. Don't get me wrong. They don't do it, but that's what's in their power to do. He threatened me with it the last day, in that he suggested he could do it. And I was like, oh no, Judge, I know you can do that. And I said, Judge, you also can give me a €1,500 fine with it as well. Boy. I was like, I know well what you can do to me. I was like, and I'm not afraid of you either. And he didn't really like me saying that to him. But at the same time, I'm just honest. Like I'm standing up for my beliefs. We live in a democracy, and I'm happy to go to the prison in protest of that. That they're not locking me up for possessing cannabis. They're locking me up for protesting because civil disobedience, I'm choosing to break that law in form of protest. And I made that decision a long time ago. So other news, guys. There was a cannabis grow house discovered there in Leitrim. So €58,000 worth of suspected cannabis. So the Forensic Science Ireland there, get ready guys, you got some samples coming your way. Was seized after Gardaí discovered a grow house in County Leitrim. So what a waste of time again. Gardaí have seized €58,000 worth of suspected cannabis plants and herb after discovering a grow house in County Leitrim. The detection was made in Dromahare yesterday at around 2 p.m. when members of the Sligo Leitrim Divisional Drug Unit carried out a search of a house in the village. During the course of the search, Gardaí found 2 rooms had been converted to grow cannabis plants. Gardaí seized €56,000 worth of plants and a further €2,000 worth of the cannabis herb. A quantity of cocaine was also seized. Seems that it's a common occurrence. What's the story there, boys, with the cannabis growers and having cocaine on site? It's just, I don't know what the crack is. There seems to be a common occurrence there in these bus. All drugs seized will be sent for analysis and no arrests have been made and inquiries are ongoing. So again, more wasted time here by our Gardaí, the boys in blue. What a waste of time. And no arrests have been made as well, but there will be arrests be made here in time to come. But it'll be interesting to see, like, when cannabis is legalised, like, these people should be given a job. Like, they're working on skills. Like, some of these people that are working in the drugs trade, growing the cannabis, moving the cannabis, like, they're some of them are geniuses. Like, they're so ingenuitive in how to do things and try to avoid detection. Like, that if these people were to be given jobs, like, man, there would be some incredible workers. Like, it's crazy the amount of time and effort these people go into. You look on Instagram there at some of the pages that are up, like, and the marketing, the time and effort that people put into to market the product, and they do it illegally, like, to avoid detection. Like, they're crafty, and I would love to see what they could do in a legal industry. I really would love to see the restrictions removed and these people to kind of come out and be who they want to be in the legal industry, and to see if they would, like, I believe a lot of them would give back to the communities in which they come from too. So sadly, until that happens, we're going to be left with these bloody Kinahans and the drug gangs and all of that, and because the guards love that. They love having a bad guy to fight. And the last bit of news, guys, I saved the best to last because I got a beautiful little doggy here to share with you. Isn't he a cutie? I love these dogs. Like, I hate them, but I love them. I just love the pat him on the head and rub his belly, and I'm sure he would love it too. And he doesn't realise the harm he's doing when he's out there sniffing out all this cannabis that's coming through our postal service these days. So this fella here was sadly, his name is Sam, and Sam was a bold boy. Sam has helped the Gardaí find over €72,000 worth of cannabis recently, and this cannabis was destined for numerous addresses around the island of Ireland. It was 3.6 kilos of cannabis, to be precise, that Sam has intercepted. And this was at the Dublin Mail Centre, and with the efforts there of the revenue officers. The illegal drugs were discovered in a number of parcels that originated from the United States, and they were declared as items such as sweaters, plastic ornaments, wedding invitations, and a makeup stand. The parcels were destined for an address in Dublin, Donegal, Galway, Limerick, and Kerry. A spokesperson for the Revenue Department in the Republic says that investigations are ongoing. So again, like, what a wasted bloody time. I talked about it there, how much time and effort actually goes into training these dogs and to housing them and to the handlers and on all of that stuff. Like, it's no small feat to be paying. And like, get these finding a bit of cannabis, 3.6 kilos of cannabis, lads. That's just like 3 bags of sugar, just 3.5 bags of sugar. That's not a lot. That's not a lot of cannabis. You know, I was out in the foods, the cash and carry there the other day, and the big tubs of herbs. I love my herbs. I love cooking at home and getting the herbs in there. And a big tub of it. It was like €12 for a big huge tub of rosemary and thyme and oregano and all of the herbs. And I just couldn't stop and think to myself, I was like, I can't wait to the day that cannabis is going to be like these, that cheap, like that it will be that cheap, because it's easy, just as easy to grow as those herbs as any of the other herbs, like, you know. So it's there will be a day when it will be that cheap, and it's only this expensive currently because of the bloody climate in which it exists, the environment in which it exists, the environment of prohibition, where, you know, it's just valuable to the drug dealers. And you know, when the Gardaí are making all these big seizures, sure, the drug dealers are just going to say, geez, lads, it's hard to get the cannabis in there now, look, the price is going up, the price is going up. Do you know what? The recession came and the price of cannabis didn't go up because of the recession at all. Drug dealers, like, they didn't bring down the price of their drugs. There was no recession at all in the drugs industry. It's kind of recession proof, to be fair. But, you know, that's it, guys. That is all for today's 420 news. Let's hope that 2021 does gear out to be a very good one, as I said there at the start of the news. Just to bring it back up for people who came in maybe a bit late, that there's going to be a bill brought before the Irish government, before coming from the people before profit, and it seeks to legalise cannabis. And I look forward to getting to chat with Gino Kenny there in the future about this. I hope that the bill includes something for clearing convictions from people who've been caught in the past, because that needs to happen. There's a lot of people out there with convictions who don't need them, and it needs to be addressed in any bill that seeks to legalise cannabis. So that is all today's 420 news, guys. I'm going to head on over to the comments there, as I always do to the end of the show, to my lovely fans out there in the Facebook world. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, as I upload it there, if you want to be part of the show, head on over to the Facebook. You find me there on Martin's World on Facebook. The show happens live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I do my best to make 420. I didn't do it today, but you know. So the comments out there, guys, and there's a few greetings coming in there from Sean and Dave, and they're saying good evening to everybody out there, and hi. How's everybody doing? I hope you're all well. I know I'm doing very good. And Sean enjoyed the song there at the start of that. And the link, I'll share some of those videos there in a minute, and I get the links up on the Facebook page for you guys. And we have Mert Darcy saying, well, bud, roll on. Nice one. And off sound. Oh yeah, people are telling me my sound was off there at the very beginning, and it's because I didn't plug in my microphone. So yeah, I think that the sound sorted itself out there afterwards. Yeah, Dave says hooray. It did. I got an awful fright there, actually. I was like, shit, did I just do the whole show with no sound? Listening to that song, I'm after filling the vape with a hand sanitizer. No, oh man, a little too late for me, and small steps forward after small steps forward are better than none there, says Dave. And it was James there that said that it's a little bit too late for me, and he's referring there to that adult caution. It's going to benefit only very little people, you know, the people turning 18 now, you know, or the people who haven't never been caught before. These are the people who are going to benefit greatly from this. Because if you were caught with cannabis, I believe before, when you were under 18, that goes off your record when you're 18. As long as you get dealt with before you were 18. I got caught when I was 17. I didn't get brought to court until I was 18. But if I was brought to court at 17, I believe my record would have been nice and clear. But anyhow, that's just digressing from things. Oisin says here, so what happens instead of a charge? It's an adult caution at the side of the road. You take your name and stuff like that. They bring you into the station. It's a very formal thing, I believe, actually. So they take your name and stuff at the side of the road, and then they bring you into the station for a formal adult caution where you have to be, yes or no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, I'm so sorry, sir, I'll never smoke cannabis again, sir, you'll never catch me with it again, sir, oh my God, I can't believe I was so stupid, sir, I'll never be a dope again and smoke dope. You know, this is the kind of attitude you need to have to benefit from this caution system. Then onwards, Noel says that that's a loophole in itself, and Oisin says then over in Oklahoma you're allowed no more than 10 grams as a personal use. Like, this is it, it's discrimination, man. Why did they get to tell you 10 grams, but meanwhile you can go down to the shop and buy a big bottle of vodka down in Oklahoma, I'd imagine. Keith Halloran says that he's fucked because he's been caught before, so he doesn't benefit from that either, I'd imagine. Then we have Catherine joining in here as well. Howdy, Catherine. She says that if they don't like you, they will not show you any grace. And this is what I mean. It's at the discretion of the guards. Like, if they don't like you, man, they're not going to show you any discretion at all. And Dave adds in here that, well, with Gino's proposal, we are making slight progress. And he was replying there to an earlier comment there as well. And it's going to bring the conversation forward. And the conversation needs to be had. We've had many years now where the conversation hasn't been had. The last time this was being on the table was back in 2013, I believe. So that was Ming's bill. So it's great that it's there now. So let's hope it has it's positively received. Although, you know, I won't. I'm not too optimistic on it, just because the government already in the formation talks ruled out supporting legalising cannabis, and that was because the Green Party have it on their manifesto to have cannabis legalised, and when they were trying to form the government, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil said they're not going to legalise cannabis at all. So I believe it's up to us now, the people out there, guys, and I hope Gino will confirm this as well, that he wants to see people out there and calling and pushing for the government to change this, you know. And I believe we need a lot of action across the island of Ireland. And again, I'll just second that call out there for people. If you want to coordinate the effort, there's a group already, a group chat happening here on Facebook. If you want to be added into that, it was started up by John O'Regan, who I had on the podcast as well in the past. And we're looking to lobby the government and to coordinate cannabis action across the island of Ireland in order to raise awareness as to the benefits that legalisation of cannabis will bring. And the harms of prohibition too. So get in touch with me, guys, if you want to be involved in that effort there. Do get in touch and I'll add you into that group. I have a few people actually cropping into my mind now who I should have added in already, but apologies there, don't feel left out. I'm only thinking about adding people to the group right now. Ronan adds in here that or Oisin before him says, fingers crossed it's decriminalised. That should happen, that can happen overnight, and it really should. Ronan adds in then that a personal amount was always always once it's in one big bag on the Garda rule of thumb. That's what I got told at a couple of Garda stations in a strip club on the sesh. Told by a couple of Garda in the strip club on the sesh. Letting everybody know you're in a strip club. No, no shame in that either, man. You were probably there with your partner, man. She's cool. But yeah, it's down to the discretion of the guard. Like, what's personal possession? Like, I could be stocking up for 1 month, I could stock up for 3 months. What if I want to stock up for the year? Like, it's personal. It's down to me to decide what's personal, isn't it? But anyhow, Teresa then says she's in Roscommon, and when she heard about Gino's bill, the first thought that came to me was that we need to educate the masses and really push for this bill. I agree with you, Teresa. And what I hope to do is get people out there, just just set up a table event in their town centre and just talk to people, just the general public. Come and have a conversation about cannabis. Hand out flyers if it can be done under the restrictions. You know, we don't want to be handing out the coronavirus. But you know, within the guises of all that stuff, getting the information out there and just normalising, destigmatising cannabis, because it's just a freaking plant at the end of the day. It's prohibition has made it all of these other evil things. You know, it's tied to them with all of these criminal gangs and the violence and all of that nasty stuff. Ron adds in, unite for cannabis, man. Yeah, I agree with you. We do need to unite for cannabis. That's the people power that's going to force the hand of the government. I don't believe the political will is there currently within the government, so the people now need to get up, take to the street and force their hand in a peaceful way, but taking civil disobedience into action too. Sean says as well here that those days are long gone, and the Garda that got caught leaving people off with road-related stuff was hung by the automated system. Okay, I didn't know that now at all. And Fergad's in that Irish-grown, homegrown rocks, man. You can't bake good quality homegrown Irish cannabis at all. It's beautiful stuff, and especially when you know the grower as well, it's great knowing that the grower, because I know the passion that goes into the cannabis that I consume, because I know the grower and I know his passion, and I know her passion too, because there's female growers out there as well, and they do a tremendous job. Cernan is replying here as well to that just what I got told off of over the limit about Garda that about 2 years ago. They said that they basically only count anything less than a half ounce in one bag as personal use. Anything over it is intent to supply. But all in all, they basically wing it. And if they feel it's not for personal, it is treated as they wish. The person who was telling me was also kicked out of the club for snorting in the jacks. So no surprise there, man. That's a common occurrence too. When I hear stories of cops that they like the old schnackta. Walid Cochran adds in here that we need the Irish grow, and that's that. I agree with you, man. Irish people need a right to grow cannabis, and if I could help patients out there, I'm sure there's many patients who would be more than happy to get cannabis from growers. You know, if I could do it legally, I would happily do it. And you know, I've given up so much of my time campaigning here. You know, I don't mind giving up more of my time. You know, I see the value of it. David Shallow adds in here then when it's made legal. Sorry, John's beautiful faces are popping up over the comment here. So John adds in here that beautiful conclusion. The headline should be, geez, names keep popping up over the comments. That the headline should be cannabis can fund serious crime. Yeah, it can. Cannabis can fund serious crime because of prohibition. Finish the headline. But yeah, David Shadlow's comment is viewable now again. He says that when it's made legal, they need to stop charging people who are driving with it in their system. People are basically losing their jobs and cars for nothing. They are not impaired, and yet this is ignored when they go to court. I agree with you, man. I 100% agree with you. Presence of cannabis in your blood system doesn't prove impairment at all. They need to bring in some sort of impairment test at the side of the road to determine this, because of the way in which cannabis is tested for its discrimination, and that's all there is at the end of the day. It's allowing them to discriminate against us. The Sean adds in here as well that the Garda, judges, their lawyers all played to ruin other people's lives. No conflict of interest, getting paid by the same criminals writing these unconstitutional laws. I agree with you, man. They are incredibly unconstitutional. And Renan says, bad dog. Madradona. Ken says, good show as always, Martin, and he missed the start, but he'll catch up afterwards. It's always uploaded to YouTube's afterwards, guys, anyway. And I'll share the link here as well, too. And happened to me, mate, didn't even smoke on the day. Was the night before. It got done 2 years. It got done for 2-year disqualification. Oh man, 2 years off the road. At least you can appeal it, I believe, after 1 year. I got 1 year off the road, and I wasn't even allowed to appeal it, mate, because you can only appeal it after the year. So you need to get a 2-year sentence off the road, man. More discrimination is ridiculous. If you were done for drink driving, like I wouldn't mind, but like you drunk for cannabis in your system, it's ridiculous. I got done for cannabis possession. It wasn't even in my system. It wasn't even a DUI. It was ridiculous. Teresa adds in here, she says, me too got 1 hour, and she says, add me to the chat group as well, and I will indeed. I'll add you up there. I see the comments coming in there for people to be added to the chat group, guys. I'll certainly add you in there to the chat group. It seems to be a national chat group with people around Ireland having a conversation there, and wanting to lobby the government and put action into place. And yeah, there's a good group of people there. So last few comments there is from Jake and Renan and Teresa there, and they're adding in there. They want to be added to the groups. So guys, thanks very much to everybody out there. Decent. I'm after keeping the show under an hour today. That means I can upload it to Instagram. It's always a balls when I go over the hour, because Instagram only allows you to upload it for an hour. So everybody who's taken part in today's show and shared your comments with me, thanks very much, guys. It's much appreciated, and I love bringing the show to you every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at that good old time of 4:20. So guys, stay blazed out there. Keep her lit. Peace. Much love.